Today's historic listing brings the demutualization program of the former Nigerian Stock Exchange to a close. Joining me now for a chat to this major development is the chairman of the NGX Group, Abimbola Ogunbanjo, and the group CEO of the company, Oscar Oyema. Congratulations, gentlemen, and a warm welcome to Arise Exchange.
Thank you. Good evening, Bosun.
Good evening. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let me start with you, the chairman of NGX Group. What are some of the benefits you expect this listing to bring to stakeholders, both within and outside the group?
Well, let me again warmly thank you for having me on your show. Perhaps I should give some historical context before I respond to that question. It might interest the audience to note that the Exchange Group PLC is now the 136th company to list on the main board of the exchange. And the listing is coming on the back of the recent demutualization of the exchange, which you just alluded to. Therefore, this listing could not have happened without the support of our members, the legislature, presided over by Senator Bukola Saraki at the time, and of course, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. And so there are many enablers to the successful listing, and when the history of the exchange is written, you will discover that many personalities and institutions have contributed to elevate the group to a new phase in its unfolding evolution, thereby bringing to fruition the benefits of the demutualization. Well, permit me also, Bosun, to emphasize that this listing is not for the purposes of raising capital, as most laypersons are prone to assume. The core essence of the listing is really to democratize the ownership of the exchange. As you may be aware, the exchange has been member-owned for the past 60 years. And so members such as one of the founders and oldest members of the exchange, Mr. Akitola Williams, will now be able to realize the value of the investment he made some 60 years ago. The demutualization and listing itself will afford both institutional investors and retail investors the opportunity to become shareholders. With enhanced investor participation comes greater liquidity for block trading. Thirdly, the listing will enable the group to leverage capital raising and growth opportunities that other global exchange groups have benefited from over the years, and should give the group access to broad pools of capital. It strategically places the group in a position to provide liquidity and also deliver capital growth and returns through dividends to its shareholders. We anticipate an improved corporate governance vis-a-vis the reduced conflict of interest in the shareholder-owned entity, and greater management performance, transparency, and accountability due to the new board structure and broad experience of the directors appointed to the demutualized group, which again is underpinned by positive shareholder activism. Finally, for the wider... sorry?
Yes, please go ahead.
Finally, for the wider market stakeholders and the Nigerian financial ecosystem, the listing should give rise to a more agile exchange that is better able to support the growth of the capital market and the economy through increased capital market activity, improved investor confidence, as well as opportunities for new dynamic relationships, strategic partnerships, and capital raising flexibility, both locally and internationally.
Thank you so much, Abimbola Ogunbanjo, chairman of NGX Group. Let me ask the group CEO, Oscar Oyema, for his thoughts around the separation of trading rights from ownership rights. What do we expect around this? How will this enhances the market and this listing moving forward?
Thank you very much, Bosun. Like Otumba Ogunbanjo has mentioned, the possibility now arises that the shareholder interest is very much aligned with that of the exchange in the sense that we're looking to create value as opposed to the mutual state that it was in before, where you had members also owning the exchange and being the primary customers of the exchange. So with the bifurcation of these two things, we can actually begin to institutionalize the ownership of the exchange, bring in a lot more retail players as well, and bring in foreign portfolio investors. So it will have a more diversified ownership base, if you will, that is consistent with best practices around the globe.
But how do you intend to become a benchmark for other entities on the bourse in which your shares is also listed?
Boston, as you know, we've always led from the front as an institution that has really improved on transparency, that has improved on corporate governance. We intend to continue to lead from the front, even as a listed entity. We do have those credentials. We have a strong board, and our corporate governance framework is consistent with all the different codes and laws in Nigeria. Starting from the SEC corporate governance guidance to the National Code of Corporate Governance to the capital market holding company rules under the Securities and Exchange Commission. To CAMA and ISA. So we have a framework that is very solid with very passionate board members that have diverse experience both domestically and internationally. And a strong management team that is poised to execute. So we intend to continue to comply with the rules of the exchange and to lead from the front.
Thank you, Oscar Onyema. Let me ask the chairman, Abimbola Ogunbanjo, very quickly, what to expect moving forward in about 30 seconds. What do we expect moving forward now after the listing?
Well, thank you, Bosun. Well, as an organization, we remain extremely resolute in our aspiration to be the leading integrated capital market infrastructure group in Africa. The market should expect to see a more dynamic, more competitive, and a more responsive organization, and one that intends to attract the best talent out there.
Thank you so much, the chairman of Nigerian Exchange Group, Abimbola Ogunbanjo, and the group CEO, Oscar Onyema.